Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to lecture number 29, and today we will be continuing with our topic of marketing. In the previous lecture we discussed about the four P's of marketing, that are the description of the product and then their respective placement in the market, and then the settlement of their price and their respective promotions to attract more and more customers and increase our respective sales. Then we discussed about how these four P's of marketing fit into and further define our marketing wheel of fortune. Further, we discussed about how small businesses differ from the corporate businesses and what um, problems or shortcomings the small businesses may have to face or suffer in terms of marketing as compared to their corporate rivals. And at the same time we discussed how the small businesses can make advantages of different situations that the corporate businesses may not be able to catch on to. So today we will be continuing with our topic of marketing, but today it will be a little different because in the last lecture we mostly discussed about the general marketing strategies and how it helps us to gain more and more customers. But in the era of today we have to conserve our resources as much as possible, and given the high rising competition every day we have to devise new and new strategies. So the strategy that we will be focusing on today is the guerrilla marketing, and we will see how it differs from the typical or general mass marketing technique that is widely used over the world. And we will start with one-on-one marketing and why it is so necessary, and then we will relate it to our customer sensitivity and further define the guerrilla marketing based upon the understanding of our one-on-one marketing and customer sensitivity. Then we will discuss how the competitive advantages can be gained through different aspects of guerrilla marketing, that is the customer focus, the concerns about quality, the perception of convenience, and how to make it possible. And then we will be discussing about the innovation, that is the core driver of our entrepreneurship that we have been discussing right from the start. And then we will be discussing about the speed and service factor for our product or service business that we are into. And lastly we will be discussing on taking our business or services on the web and enhancing our sales more than before, as we have already discussed in our topic of e-commerce businesses. So let's start with how to become an effective one-on-one marketer. What we have discussed before are the journal aspects of marketing and the journal approaches of marketing. Marketing is basically in the simplest form we have so far discussed that marketing is basically the approach or the set of techniques to convince somebody to buy your product or buy your services, and to make them realize at the same time that they need it, right? So this is the basic idea of marketing, right? That you are convincing somebody to buy your service or product, right? But to get to that stage you have to first find your customer. And in the journal marketing concept we develop our service or product and we think that there will be some customers out there in the general population, right, that will be attracted or will be needing our services or product. And we when advertise our product to them we do mass marketing campaigns, but it's not effective. Why it's not effective? It's not effective because you may be trying to convince or trying to market your product to so many people, but we know it well enough that not everybody is interested in your product in the first place. They might not need it in the first place, so it doesn't make sense that we are wasting our resources and wasting our energies and putting in too much cost in terms of time and finances to convince the people that are not even gonna buy our product, or to be very honest don't need our product, right? There is no product on earth except few exceptions that everybody needs, right? Even if there is a product that everybody needs, there are already many organizations that are producing it. So coming back to the point that we need to focus on the people that truly want our product. And how is it possible that we get to the right people and we put in our energies and our expenses and our efforts on the right people so that we can get the most out of our efforts that we have put in? So let's begin from the factors that define the successful one-on-one marketing. Beginning from the left anti-clockwise, we will be seeing that first you have to identify your best customers, never passing up the opportunity to get their names. That is very, very important when you are into one-on-one marketing, right? You have to know the personal details of the people you are dealing with. The first step to get personal with anybody is to know their name and remember it the next time you interact with them, or any number of times you get to deal with them. It gives them the sense of ownership, right? It's natural and very understandable for everybody that if you are just addressing somebody as our dear customer, right, they won't be much convinced or attracted, or it won't be much attractive to hear. But if you call somebody respectfully with their names, then they will know that the business they are dealing with or the product they are gonna buy will value them as their customers in true form, right? Next, we have the aspect of collect information on these customers, linking their identities to their transactions. This is the next step that most of the businesses are trying to adapt, right? They are implementing smart business approaches. Whatever transactions, especially in the e-commerce business, whatever transactions you are doing, they are registered under your name, and they are in the records for years and years for those organizations. They know very well that what kind of products you have bought in the past and what's the frequency of your visits on their websites and what kind of products you have been interested the most, right? So on basis of those your buying history, they recommend you more and more products. You would have often seen it in the online businesses or the online aspects of different franchises or companies that you have been interested into or have bought from in the past. So it's very necessary that you not only know the personal details of those individuals, but you are further smartly able to link them with their further transactions, right? So that you can, if you have some new product or service coming up, you can easily convince them into buying it. Next is calculate the long-term value of customers, so you know which ones are the most desirable, and that means the most profitable. Obviously not all the customers that may visit your store or may avail your service will be the most profitable one or the most loyal ones. So while tracking their buying histories, while keeping records on personal level, you have to smartly make decisions that which customer has been more beneficial to you, and based on, and which customer has brought more profit to your business, right, by utilizing your services or products. So based, this is the concept of customer loyalty, the term you have often heard of, the loyalty programs, the customer loyalty programs. So based on those experiences, those information, you can retain those customers, keep them loyal for even more in your marketing ecosystem, right? Next we have is know what your customers buying cycle is, and the time your marketing efforts to coincide with it. Just in time marketing, or just in time product manufacturing are the concepts that you do the marketing when it is needed. You just don't go blindly and do marketing on the massive level or to the masses. Likewise, when you have made some product, you must do the just in time production wisely. This is a separate concept, but since we are discussing just in time marketing, so I'm telling you that what is just in time production as well, that you produce products based on the demand. You don't go ahead and make lots of product pieces and they are just lying there when there is even no need of them. So coming back to the idea of just in time marketing, you must only target the customers that you think are your potential customers and may be interested in your further products or services. And this will be based upon obviously the 3 steps we have just discussed, that you have to get to know them on personal level and you have to interact with them on personal level, so that they could get the idea that and they are being valued. And then you have to link their information with their product history, right? And then based upon that you can further engage them, and that who is the most profitable to your business and who is the most desirable, obviously. Next is that make sure your company's products and service quality will astonish your customers. Obviously, your product should be in the first place very different than what the competition is offering, and the way you present it to your customer will also be a key factor to this aspect. That if you have the personal information and you have the history of that particular customer and you have been tracking it, and you get to deliver them some new product they have just ordered, but you have delivered it in a personalized along with a personalized envelope quoting some message, so it will obviously add value to your product as well as your business and will enhance the customer loyalty. This is just a small example. You can personalize the service experience based on that customer's preference. For example, if some customer has stayed in some particular hotel, right, and that hotel has several branches across different continents, and your particular loyal customer gets to travel to another country and avails some services at the same hotel, but obviously a different uh, branch of it in that particular country. If that hotel management is sharing the information in timely and smartly, they will know the preferences of that registered customer that has booked his room in that hotel way before his arrival, and they will make the arrangements accordingly. So obviously when that customer will arrive there, he will be astonished that since his room is set as per the preferences that he has preferred in the local or home country. So this is just another example. So you can astonish your customer based on the information that you have gathered, but you have to do it smartly. This is the key thing. Next is see customer complaints for what they are, a chance to improve your services and quality and encourage complaints and then fix them. Right? Your system should be a welcoming one when it comes to entertaining complaints. So you should welcome the complaints rather than ignoring them or just claiming that there is nothing wrong with your system. And not only the complaints should be welcomed, but they should be fixed in time as well. And lastly, based upon the information that you might have gathered through the experiences or the complaints, you can further enhance your services and products based upon those ideas and experiences, and even bring innovation based upon those factors. Okay, next we have the 4 levels of customer sensitivity that we take into consideration when we are doing one-on-one marketing. Our level 1 is the lowest, that customer awareness. This is the prevailing attitude that defines that there is a customer out there. This is the basic understanding, as we can call it, that you just have come up with some idea, right, of a product or service, and you just made a fine guess that this is our service, this is our product, this looks attractive, and you know what, that there will be some customer out there that will be interested in our service or product, right? But it's not effective. You may have to do mass marketing for your product or service and still not get so much response that is required for your business to run. The next level is the customer sensitivity. It is defined in terms of a wall that stands between the company and its customers. Employee knows a little about their customers but don't share this information with others in the company. The company does not solicit feedback from the customers, right? This is that if you are making a product or delivering a service, and there are few top managers or particular portion of people that know that you have particular customers, but they don't share the information about their experiences or the feedback with each other. So just because of that, your product cannot be improved, your services cannot be improved effectively, right? So it may damage your product or service or business overall. So again, this lack of communication or flow of information between the different stakeholders of any business can be bad for overall business repute, and it happens. The next level is the customer alignment. That is when managers and employees understand the customer central role in business, and they spend a considerable time talking about and with customers, and they seek feedback through surveys, focus groups, customer visits, and other techniques. This is the next level of marketing when the say of the customer is directly included, or in some events indirectly included in the decision making of the organization. And this is the point where the organization is ready to take feedback and revise their decisions upon that feedback. The next level is the highest level, that is customer partnership. This is when the company has embraced a customer service attitude as an all encompassing part of its culture. So, this is the point that is the highest when the customers uh, become the part of the organization in a way that they are the essential of the culture that is being practiced within an organization. Giving the example of the Google thrive to develop the products for their customers that are as simplistic as possible and as much reachable as possible. So in all their products you can see the consistency of the simplicity, that is to understand and use those products. So this is the highest level when the marketing touches its peak, that the customer say become the culture of that organization. So this is not easy to achieve, it may take time, but it is the most desirable point for when it comes to dealing with the customer sensitivity or dealing with the aspects of marketing. So coming to the core discussion of our today's topic of marketing is the guerrilla marketing and the guerrilla marketing plan. So there are some aspects that it is defined upon, that it is uh, in general terms we have heard of the guerrilla warfare. In conventional warfare, obviously you go outright against your enemy or against your competitors if we are talking about the marketing strategy, right? But in the guerrilla marketing plan, but on the contrary, we would have heard of that what is guerrilla warfare. It is rather a passive approach towards invading an enemy. Likewise, the guerrilla marketing plan acts more or less passively when it comes to grabbing onto the market share and approaching the customers. So how it is done, we will be seeing different aspects of them. To begin with, we have that we pinpoint the specific target markets the company will be serving. So we have to define the area that our product will be targeting or service will be targeting, and this is something again that we have discussed in terms of defining a marketing niche. The niche is the particular area that we have discussed that we want to target or are interested in targeting to acquire some particular market share that may not probably would have explored before or have rather low competition. So the first point is that pinpointing the specific target markets the company will be serving, right? Not only in terms of product or service but also in terms of the magnitude of the customer scope. Second is determine the customer needs and wants through market research, right? You don't go outright with your product or your service idea and start convincing the people. You have to do a market research for it, that what customer needs and wants from the next contender in the market, right? And you have to obviously differentiate between the needs and wants. What are the immediate necessities that people need and what will be the future demands that will be expected if you enter in that particular business. So obviously you have to smartly differentiate between the two, and you can strategize for the years to come, that how you will be providing services or products to fulfill the needs, and how you will later on compensate with the uh, projected wants in the future. The third one is analyze a firm's competitive advantage and build a marketing strategy around them. Right, you have to realize your own worth as a company or as a business, or the people that are with you, that what are your competitive advantages and how long they will be remain as competitive advantage, and what will you have to do to upscale those competitive advantages and remain in the competition rather than being kicked out if not uh, upgrading your game in that particular industry. Last one is that create a marketing mix that meet customer needs and wants. That is again something that we have just discussed, that you have to smartly identify the difference between the two, and you should go ahead and make a strategy that how you will be delivering them as the time passes. So now we will be discussing all the points in detail. That to begin with, we have the pinpointing the target market. So obviously, as we have just discussed, that you have to target a market, a specific group of people that you want to deliver your services to or distribute or sell your products to. Then your marketing strategy must clearly define that what your targeted customers are. They should be in the formal definition of your marketing strategy. Next is that mass marketing techniques no longer work. This is what we have been discussing right from the start of this lecture, that mass marketing is just shooting an arrow in the sky and expecting that it will hit that target, but it's rather opposite the case, that you are just, for example, if you have come up with some product and you want to launch it in the twin cities, that is Islamabad and Rawalpindi, and you start just with the SMS marketing, for example, and you start sending those formal messages to just random people in Rawalpindi and Islamabad. What's the probability that the people that you are targeting are your real customer or will become your loyal customer? The probability is pretty low. So again, you have to do your market research, and you should approach the potential customers or buyers rather than doing the mass marketing. Okay, continuing with the pinpointing the target marketing, you have to define your customer based on the pure theme of your business, right? You have to keep it in mind that you are competing with other competitors in the market that are there to enhance their share in the market every day, and they will show no mercy to your business. So obviously you have to enhance your business in terms of getting closer to the customer every day. It may be manufacturing the merchandise for your business so that different customers can relate to your business. You can further, if you have some outlet, you can add some specific theme based background music. You have to define the layout that defines as an identity to your business, and related decor and other features that are necessary. In all the, if you're discussing about the clothing industry in particular, that is commonly known to all. So if you go to the brand stores of any particular brand, you will see the similarities regardless of which location that store is located. All the stores will be sharing major similarities between them. That is their layout, their decor, their other features, their the presentation of their products, right? Their services style. So this is something that should remain consistent and should become the integral part of your business. Next is, without a clear image of its target marketing, a small company tries to reach almost everyone and ends up appealing to almost no one. Right, I think it is something understood that we have just discussed in mass marketing, that it does no good to anybody. So you have to remain focused and spend your resources on the right people. Okay, on relating it to the entrepreneurial marketing strategies, we just discussed that how you have to find a niche and what's the point of finding a niche, that it is the particular area that may be left unexplored by the already competitors in the market or businesses in the market, or there may be less competitors in that particular area and that may not be saturated for now, and there is a space for you to meet the demand. There is still demand need that needs to be filled, so you have to find your niche and fill it. And then you just don't go ahead and just sell your products, right? You have to be entertaining, that you have to be unique than your customers. And to be unique, we have discussed that how we can approach our customers in rather a personal way, how we can customize the products or services in rather a personal way, and how we can uh, amaze them based upon the experience the customers have. And then not only that, but also we have just discussed that how we market our business, or the example we just discussed about the clothing brands, that how they define their identity based upon their setups and the components of their setups, and how they differentiate themselves from the other businesses that are in competition with them. Lastly is connecting with the customer on an emotional level, that is building their trust and giving them a unique selling proposition. The unique selling proposition basically is something pretty understood, and that you have to sell your product, and you have to not only sell your product, but you have to educate your customer that if you are buying this product or if you are availing this service, how good it will be doing to you, right? What good or what value will it bring to you? You have to convince them. That is the, and in a obviously unique way, right, that they become convinced of getting it or availing it. Next is, we have to create an identity for your business through branding. We just discussed that how we brand our product and how we define our identity based on the different aspects. And next is that make it easy for your customers to relate. In the previous lecture, when we were discussing about the marketing, we started with the brand name. That brand name should be appealing, it should be easy to remember, it should be relatable, right? If you are making or using some brand name that is culturally inappropriate somewhere, so it may offend somebody. On the very opposite, if you are labeling your brand with something very appealing, that is very relatable to and understandable and easy to remember, so it's pretty convenient for the customers to not only remember it but also tell other people about it. Ease in expansion, obviously the more loyal and good customers you will have, the easy it will be to expand your business, since your loyal customer will be your first hand army to do your marketing without any true expense. And then you will be have to communicate your unique selling proposition in a effective manner so that you can convince whomever you are trying to convince. And then based upon uh, once you have convinced the people, you have to set the prices, and you have some leverage to set the prices higher than they originally should be, since you have put in too much effort in the marketing, and now you have the customer loyalty as well, and they are comfortable with your product and service, so it may help you to earn more profits than initially set. And once you have a good repute with your customers and your customer base has increased over time, you will definitely have higher or greater visibility in the community or in the respective industry you are in. One of the techniques that are included when it comes to guerrilla marketing strategy is, you may start by writing a blog or a newsletter. And not only companies but even the individuals have become famous by uh, continually writing content that is of quality regularly, and they have made a name for themselves. Next is that customer focus. Obviously we have discussed in our success factors of marketing, one-on-one marketing, earlier in the lecture, that you should, and it's the even the highest marketing sensitivity level as well, that you have to include the customer in the culture of your organization. So how it is made possible, right? That's the question. So it's basically can be answered by these 4 points, that you have to ask your customer what are you doing right. You have, when they tell you that these are the things that your company is doing right, you have to remain stick to them, right? Next you can ask them, how can we do that even better? So this is, getting innovation from the customer's perspective and enhancing your product to a more desirable form to the customers, right? Without putting in too much effort. You are just, it will not only enhance the ownership perspective from the customer side, but it will also make your product or service better. So it's again a very 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 effective approach. Next you can ask them that what have we done wrong, right? You can ask them the flaws in your products and services. Obviously if they are really concerned about your product and services, and they are loyal to your product or service, they will definitely be wanting you to do good in the future, so that they can remain stick with you. So they will honestly be telling you that what's wrong with your business. Based upon that feedback, if you fix it in the timely manner, you can retain your customers definitely. What can we do in the future? Obviously if there are any shortcomings, and the customer community can in many ways, since not all the customers are from non-technical backgrounds. You may have customers in there that probably would have uh, technical background knowledge about different aspects of your business. For example, if there is some architect in there, they may tell you how you can improve the different outlet design. If there is someone that knows other online businesses well, they may guide you or even suggest that you should adapt that technology to expedite your online services. So these are just few examples that the customers obviously come from different backgrounds and can help the businesses guide and thrive in the future. Obviously, next is the point of devoting to quality. So it is a very definitive aspect when it comes to marketing, because regardless of the fact how loyal your customer is, if you start giving them the products or services of compromised quality, they ultimately will have to leave your interest, and they will have to leave your organization or will lose interest in your services or product. So as in a study, it is reflected as 60% of customers who change suppliers do so because of the problem with company's products and services, right? So it is a pretty understood thing. So based upon that, quality is not some alien concept. Now that the organizations have understood how necessary it is, they have made it as part of their strategy and strategic objective, essentially, so that the company should work towards attaining more and more quality than ever before. So there comes the concept of total quality management, that is widely known in the international markets, and they have defined different procedures to implement it and different standards for it to define the quality of different types of products. So what defines total quality management? It is the quality in the product or service itself. That is very primary factor. Second is that quality in every aspect of business and its relationship with the customer, right? So you not only have to make a quality product or deliver a quality service, but the team that is behind it and the practices that are behind it and the relationship that is with their customer, that too should be based upon the quality. And then obviously based on that customer or the continuous feedback loop, you have to continually improve that product or service. So the definition of quality in general for any given product, we are not talking about service here, we are just talking about the product here. The service will be discussed in the next slide. So for any product, the basic definition of quality is defined upon the reliability, that you don't face errors or crashes if it's software, or if it's hardware based, something that it doesn't break down very often, right? It should perform and deliver the results consistently and efficiently and effectively at the same time. Second is the durability factor. Durability, how hard can it stand without facing any deterioration against the odds, right? The next is ease of use. A thing can be reliable and durable, but the thing the customer is interested ahead of these two factors is how easy it is to use, how easy it is approachable. The more it is easy to use, less technical aspects that are required to use it, the more and more customers you will have for that product or service, right? Obviously, if it has a known or trusted brand name associated to it, that's a plus. The better product you will have, the more trusted and known brand name you will become, and ultimately it will become a benchmark for other competitors or other people in the industry. Next and most importantly is a low price, right? You have to keep your profits, but you should not increase your profit margins in such a drastic manner that you have your customers turn away from you, right? So you have to keep the prices low as much as possible so you can attract more and more customers. Now next is the defining the quality in terms of service. So it is basically the tangibles. If you are delivering a service, so what's the environment you are delivering your services in, what types of equipments and facilities you are providing to the people. Next is the factor of reliability, that how reliable is that service you are delivering to people, right? It is doing what you say you will do, that how up to mark is your claim in comparison to whatever you are delivering. Next is the factor of responsiveness, that how quickly you address the issues or help your customers when it comes to delivering the services. The last one is the assurance and the empathy. You have to deliver your services in the right manner, but at the same time you have to understand and care about the customers from their perspective. You have to be in their shoes, you have to place yourself in their shoes to understand their point of view, to enhance their experience and understand them better in the first place. So to enhance our marketing game, considering the guerrilla strategy, you have to obviously take into account the factor of convenience. Regardless how good your product is, regardless of factor that how great your service is that you are delivering, if it's not conveniently located to your customers, the customer won't most of the customers won't bother to avail it or use it, right? So you have to place yourself conveniently near the customers. Next is the business hours. You have to be available at the right time at which your customers are available, right? You have to define your business hours as per the customer's interest, in simpler terms if I say. Next is, why would customers appreciate pickup and delivery services? Would customers be appreciating the pickup and delivery services? If that's something that is essential for your business or may enhance the quality of your business, you may include that as well, right? So you have to again decide on that given the business that you are in. Next is, do you make it easy for customers to buy on credit or with credit cards, right? That is again a tricky part when it comes to financing. So you have to be convenient when it comes to financing as well. When we have discussed that your business should be placed convenient and you should your hours of business should be a suitable ones, and again the pickup and delivery services should be defined based upon the convenience of the customer. So at last the finances based upon which the transactions are placed should also be conveniently managed. Okay, how the attention to detail is related when it comes to convenience, or how can we further enhance the customer's experience based upon that convenience, is that we have to ask ourselves that are your employees trained to handle business transaction quickly, efficiently and politely, and does your customer offer extras that would make customer lives easier? So the crux of all the points that are mentioned here is that you have to first understand is that you are just not any other business. You have to provide a customized a very unique experience to your customers. So obviously not only you have to be unique, not only your business idea have to be unique, the employees that are working under you should also have to act accordingly and should also own the values of that organization or that business that you are running. So you have to train them to own those values, and you have to have a tracking mechanism to gauge how much those trained practices have been applied in the real terms, and how enriching and what's the feedback of the customers based upon that enriched experience, right? So you have to get all of your team on board when it comes to managing business. You have to have consistency across the board, no question or doubt about that. So again, the extra miles you go for your customer will make them even more loyal and appreciate your services, and obviously market your service further to the other potential customers without you spending any money on it. Next is the concentration on innovation. We just discussed that innovation can not only come from within an organization or the employees of an organization, but also from the customers. If we make them an integral part of our culture and encourage their input in our business, so innovation can often come from the customer side as well, or some aspects of it, if not all of it. And obviously the guerrilla marketing, something that is that encourages and the extension of innovation as well, or the concentration of innovation as well, because you have concentrated, or you have focused your resources and time and efforts and research on one particular niche. So it is more convenient and more easy to be exploited in future, and you can take things further and can innovate them better when you are just targeting a particular niche. Next comes the aspect of dedication to service. As we have already discussed, that you have to listen to your customers and you have to listen to them well, and then based upon those feedback, the continuous loop of that feedback, you have to upscale the quality of the services that you deliver. And obviously if you do that, you will have enhanced standards and delivered performance, and then based upon that you can further evaluate the services of your company and the quality that is associated to it, and this becomes the recognition of your company, and this is what defines your company, right? If we take example of the organizations that are working in the Silicon Valley in the US, so the values that we have heard of different companies that were made that have made their name over there, right? And they have particular culture, that they have particular level of intelligence in their employees, and they have particular level of ownership towards their employees and of their employees towards their organization, and their sense of value towards the community and vice versa. So this is basically the continuous feedback cycle from within an organization and with the external stakeholders as well. So based upon that culture within an organization, you have to hire the right people as well, that can you have to recognize their potential, that how well they can fit in your organization and how well they will do with the culture that is or that has already been induced in that organization. And once they are in, you have to train them so that they become able to deliver superior services. And obviously, like I have just giving the example of the Silicon Valley, that uh, the level of respect, the level of the ownership that the employees and the employer show toward each other, and the respective stakeholders uh, show toward each other, that is very valuable, and it is something very intangible, but it runs and it goes pretty far when it comes to achieving organizational goals, because you want your customers and you want your employees and you want your team heads on the same page, that they believe in the same beliefs and same goals that the organization aspires to achieve one day, and use technology to provide improved services. Obviously, innovation can be enhanced on that as well. And then get top manager support. Obviously, the mentors that are already there can guide you through thick and thin. And view customer service as an investment, not an expense. Obviously, once you have a happy customer, you don't know how long and they will stay with you, and in often cases they go a long way than expected. And it may be something, customer is not customer ownership is not something that is related to or is limited to just one customer. In many cases it goes from generation to generation. That is how important a customer ownership can be. The next very important factor when it comes to our marketing is the time constraint and the speed constraint, and it is defined upon the principles of the time compression management. It basically defines that, for example, if you have some great product but you are not able to roll it in the market or meet the market demand in time, so you will have discouraged customer at the end of the day, and it is not something you want. And it is a discouraged customer is something and that your competitor may take advantage of. So time management is really important, and we are gonna see that what should we be doing to make it possible and the aspects of it. That to start with the time compression management, that speed new products to the market. The sooner you have some idea, you should recognize the market demand over there and deliver the products in time, instead that some other competitor imitate your idea and start delivering the products in the market well before you. Then you have already lost a fair share in that market. Second is the shorten customer response time in manufacturing and delivering. If you have, it's the same thing that we have just discussed, that if you have recognized some demand in the market, you should deliver the product as soon as possible to cover that market gap or that product gap, right? The next is the reduce the administrative time required to fill in an order. Obviously, administrative requirements are necessary, but sometimes they are so long and so hierarchical and uh, to follow that the customers get discouraged to go through the process or wait in a long time queue that to get their desired products. So it's again a discouraging thing for a customer, and it should be avoided as much as possible. As in one of the studies, it is quoted here that most businesses waste 85 to 99% of their time required to produce products or services, right? It's because of these factors mentioned above that if you are stuck with the production or the administrative processes and you are just wasting your time over the competition that already exists in the in that industry, and if somebody has already filled that gap that you were going to fill, regardless of the fact if you even if your product arrives in the market later on, it may face saturation effect that your product sales might easily decline because that market gap has already been filled by some other competitors, right? So what should you do that you should re-engineer your manufacturing processes or your organizational processes in a way that you can manage your product or service delivery. Next, instead of following the hierarchical formalities and procedures, you should projection or service delivery in different cross-functional teams that can make their decisions on their own rather than following a long hierarchical path to get an approval expected delivery time of that service or product. And next is that you should enhance an aggressive culture, a well motivated culture within an organization to get the production on schedule, more recommendedly before time. Obviously, again, whatever the supply chain you have to following you have been following, you have to rethink that process over again, and you should adapt some procedures that are more effective, and you should be a trend tracker as we have discussed in a previous lecture when it comes to marketing, that you have to be a trend tracker. You have to track trends of all different approaches that are going in the market or are being used in different regions of the world to enhance your marketing, so you can apply it production phases if that's necessary, in management phases if that's necessary, and in the supply chain as well. And then the next is we have been discussing that what's the great worth of instilling the values in the company's culture is. So again, with the after instilling the customer's perspective within the company's culture, you should also instill the factor of speed so that they remain well motivated to deliver the products on time. And again, you should instill the technology use as well to get as much as effective and efficient outputs wherever possible. And lastly is the internet, is the e-commerce factor that we have discussed in detail before, that how internet has done wonders for different physical businesses and how they have been able to expand beyond the horizons of borders. Different entrepreneurial tactics based can be the sponsoring of different events. That's that's something you have often seen, that different organizations sponsor different events, so it becomes a marketing exposure activity to the public as well, and a wider audience of people are able to get introduced to your product or service or your company. Next is representing your business and industry. That is the different on different forums you can represent your business or industry, either it's some kind of conference, or it's some kind of annual meeting, or it's some kind of trade show, right? And the next is the gift certificates. Obviously, if you have arranged some seminar or some event, you can distribute different gift certificates and it will be memorable for the attendees. So again, it's something you can do for the marketing of your business. and then introduction of the frequent buyers program, that is the customer loyalty program or the valuable customer program that I just mentioned or quoted in the start, that you have to recognize the potential customers for your business and you have to astonish them. So one of the ways is by involving them in a frequent buyers program to give them some kind of promotional benefit or discounts or whatever that your business can accommodate. The next is clip articles, that is using the press media. Newsletters again is the same use of media, except other coupons. We also know well about the use of coupons, discount coupons, services coupons, and how they get other people to use our service or get introduced to our service. And then collect and use testimonials. Obviously testimonials is the the valued feedback from some customer, and if someone that is valuable or is known to the society, for example if some city is giving a testimonial about some brand or some service, obviously it will be of great worth to that business. So obviously you should strive to get more and more valuable testimonials, and you can further use them to attract more and more customers. Essentially putting your marketing strategy on the web is again one of the most effective ways, and how it can gather more and more wider audience, and how fast it can spread is something we have discussed in our e-commerce lecture, and is something pretty understood, and in case of any issue you can obviously question it in detail. So that is our lecture of today, in which we first discussed about the aspects of one-on-one marketing, and then we discussed about the different customer sensitivity and the effective marketing strategies, and then we discussed about the guerrilla marketing strategy and how it is differentiated from the mass marketing, and what are the pros that are associated to guerrilla marketing, and what are the necessary aspects associated to the guerrilla marketing. And then we discussed about the competitive advantages of development, and that can be achieved through the customer focus, the quality, the convenience of our product or services, and that we want the customers attracted towards, and then the aspects of innovation and how the speed and service aspect can enhance our chances of attracting a wider audience. So that's it for today, and I hope to see you in the next lecture.